As you might guess, I'm a huge fan of Bucky. I did my very first video essay on him as part of the One Marvelous In playlist, which is what inspired me to continue making these, so that's awesome. Of course, I also have a huge respect and love for Sebastian Stan, who perfectly embodies him, because how can you not love this man? But basically the thing with Bucky is that recently a lot of people have sensed that Marvel is giving him the short end of the stick. It of course started in Endgame, when Steve went back for Peggy, essentially abandoning Bucky, who he was supposed to be with till the end of the line, after 3 whole movies, finding, rescuing, and protecting him. Sure, let's just throw that character arc out the window and leave Bucky in the middle of healing in a time he doesn't belong in, where Steve was the only thing he had left from his normal life, not even giving us more than 20 seconds of closure between them. So you screwed Cap's arc about leaving the past behind, but you also totally fucked Bucky over. A lot of people don't realize Bucky has been in the MCU for the longest time, technically from the very first beginning of the chronological timeline in Captain America: The First Avenger. His story is one of the most complicated, interesting, and heartbreaking ones in the MCU. His fight with his brainwashing and the trauma he carries from the torture he suffered from Hydra and the guilt from killing all those innocent people and remembering every single one of his victims, while also dealing with feeling alienated and out of his time, not belonging anywhere, not even in the past anymore. My poor man deserves more recognition. He always gets to be Steve's best friend, Steve's motivation, Steve's purpose, which is obviously a huge part of Steve's arc, but that's it. He has a total of 48.5 minutes of screen time in the entire MCU. That is less than James Rhodes, who has a similar role as the main character's best friend, although I would argue Bucky has more significant weight in the story. After all, Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Captain America: Civil War are entirely revolved around him and wouldn't happen without him. So we have an interesting character who we don't really focus on that much. What better way to fix that but with a Disney Plus show? When first hearing about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was really excited. Not only because it's more Marvel content and Sam and Bucky are such a great duo, but I figured it would be a great opportunity to flesh out Bucky's arc a little more. And thankfully I was right. Bucky got his ending. He's not the Winter Soldier anymore. We see him in therapy, healing and introducing himself to the world again as himself and not as the Winter Soldier. He's not only getting closure with the people he hurt as the Winter Soldier, but also learns about himself as a friend and finally finds a place where he belongs. So this is perfect, right? We see him transform into this better and improved person, and best of all, he's finally happy. Well, this is great, but it's kind of pushed over to the side again in favor of Sam becoming the new Captain America. And yes, it's no secret I like Bucky way more than I like Sam, but I'm not saying we should degrade Sam. I love we get to see him as Captain America, nonetheless a black Captain America. I love that the shield now has a different meaning for both Sam and Bucky, but also the entire world, especially after what John Walker did. But all I'm asking for here is equality. The least they could do is change the title to Captain America and the White Wolf. Not only would prevent the confusion between Captain America and the Winter Soldier and Captain America the Winter Soldier, but it would make total sense regarding Sam's arc and Bucky's arc. They also refer to the White Wolf name in the show.
Little time in Wakanda and you come out White Panther. It's actually White Wolf.
It was so easy and it was right in front of you and you missed it. Apparently what really happened is way worse. They totally planned on doing that, but for some, I don't know what reason, they didn't. So, awesome. You wanted to make us go wow with the title change to Captain America, symbolizing that Sam really is the new Captain America. But why did you forget Bucky's whole story and motivation of not being the Winter Soldier anymore? He literally has a list of people he hurt in some way as the Winter Soldier, and one by one goes to them and says,
I am no longer the Winter Soldier. I am James Bucky Barnes, and you're part of my efforts to make amends.
It's literally spelled out for you, and you chose to ignore and forget it. We even get this amazing scene with Bucky realizing he's finally free, beautifully mixing happy and sad crying. It was so amazing and emotional seeing him like this, and this is again more of his arc. We also get to see him being respected and called Sergeant Barnes, and having someone thank him for saving his life and finally using his metal arm for good.
Thank you for saving us.
You're welcome.
These were all such important moments of his progress, but at the end, it was all about Sam. This happens again when Bucky confesses to Yuri, the last person on his list, that his son didn't die in a car crash like he was told, but was murdered by him. This moment was built up since the very first episode, and we get to see little to nothing from it. It just cuts away and we see everything's fine, and jump to Sam talking to Shia Bradley. I would love to see a longer scene between the two where they actually talk about it instead of just a few seconds. They built it up from the beginning that Bucky has been trying to confess for a long time and it's the hardest thing for him to do, and the payoff is nothing. It's about a minute of screen time. It feels meaningless. A part of me hopes that some of Bucky's moments were planned to be more fleshed out, but because of last-minute plot changes, they were cut short. I don't really believe that's why this character is treated poorly throughout most of his appearances, but I wish it was just an unfortunate technicality. Hashtag Bucky deserves better. So, other than that, what did I think of the show? Well, I actually didn't really love it. Besides everything I just said, I think it's a product of a lot of plot changes at the last minute, and as a result, it's a little messy. I think what carries the show is definitely Sebastian and Anthony's chemistry both on and off screen. They are an absolute iconic duo and I loved them together, but the plot was meh. I was partly bored, partly didn't understand some stuff, and that's my take on it. John Walker was fine. I feel like he had a lot more potential, but he was interesting. Sharon Carter as a power broker meant nothing to me because I didn't read the comics and I don't know who the power broker is. And maybe I missed it, but the show didn't really bother explaining it to us. I didn't like Sam's speech at the end. I mean, it was meaningful and it touched on some real life issues we have in our society, but at the same time, it was a person talking for 5 minutes straight. I'm sorry, but that's a bit boring, especially when it's a superhero show and this man can fly and here we are talking about politics. So yes, I did like WandaVision better and I'm hoping to love Loki. But this is all for now. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye! Not only would it prevent the confusion between Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Fuck. This is so bad.